I've been told I need to keep quick, so I go straight to the point. And just press next. Done. If I have to, I started working in Togo about 3 years ago when there was no new airport and there was no Radisson Blu. So, we see in the mall. And for those lucky enough that came here before '92, I think they could have seen a different country with a different kind of tourism. So that shows the potential here, and it's a question to build the foundation for the long term, because in the early 90s, before '92, it was a buoyant tourism market, huge casino business. Southern and Western Europeans were affluent tourists in here, ecotourism up on the north. So very interesting facts to read. I put a slide on macroeconomics. I know it's the boring stuff, but just to show that, as we say in Italy, the good wine is always in a small barrel. So despite being a small country, but there is some good juice inside. And so very important to bear that in mind, because the GDP per capita is about $438, which is very much an average in the African countries. And so we have economics which are not any different than any probably bigger country or more popular countries in Africa. So Togo foundations are there, they're solid. How do we describe the Togo market? In 2 words: built to last and connectivity. Why built to last? Is because they have a very solid and fast-growing population, growing at an average of compound annual growth rate of 3%. 76% are below the age of 35, very young population. 61% literate, and quite a few of them have been educated abroad, US and Europe particularly. So very interesting market foundations. Why build to last? Because if you look at the investment into infrastructure, and I'm coming also leading to connectivity, fantastic airport. I landed yesterday and amazing. Sky, no more to say. 23 destinations, code sharing to Ethiopian Airlines. And for those that do not know, from the 1st of May, they fly to New York on a code sharing with Ethiopian Airlines. So very interesting. And also one of the first few airports that can take an A380. By the way, you can land an A380 in Togo, in Lomé. So very interesting fact. They're building an airport, they're building infrastructure, they're building a seaport, which is very interesting, that within 5 to 7 years' time, we may see cruise business coming into Lomé. So built to last. Connectivity, say no more. Largest airline by connections in West and Central Africa. And I think connectivity is very important for the African market. So it is an interesting fact, and I don't have much time, so I need to rush. I do apologize. I've got other colleagues that need to come up, so I need to get cracking. And just focusing on the man. Average occupancy for the 1,180 keys for the past 4 years, above 55%. The best performer in town do 68 to 71%. And Hotel Sarakawa is part of the history, is a landmark, and Radisson Blu is taking over the new generation. So we've seen an evolution. Demand very strong during the summer months, peaking at 79.5%. And a RevPAR growth in the last 4 years, 24%. So, reaching consistent level. And as you can see on screen, we forecast in the market to close at 63% occupancy by December 2016, and a RevPAR of 62 euros. So again, surely, slowly, but steady and consistent. This combined is the same with political stability, consistent. Very, very important in an African country. It's easier doing business in Lomé. It's pretty easy within the top 150 countries worldwide. So again, the key facts are here. The foundation are here for a good growth. Are we going to see massive growth? jumping 20 to 30%, absolutely not. This is a market for investors that come here for the long term. So you want your steady returns, but good return, Lomé is a perfect market. I would define the Switzerland of West Africa, if I had to define it. Sorry for the French, I know, but it's a... interesting fact, 77% of the business in Lomé is corporate. Togo is the 4th largest producer of phosphates in the world, and so very big business in the secondary commodities. First commodities are, diamonds, gold, and that. Nothing to do with this country. It's primarily phosphate, cocoa, rice, and other grains, let's say in the grain business. The seaport will open up more the heavy industry, logistics, and which will be, they've got one of the deepest waters in West Africa, the stretch in front of, Togo. So very interesting for the shipping and cargo business, which is what made the fortune at the moment of Dubai. DP World, if you look King Abdullah Economic City in Jeddah, they're targeting this business to grow the tourism, particularly business tourism. The leisure demand constitutes barely 6%, and primarily made of West Africans and some Europeans. Whereas the opportunity up on the north part of the country is, the majority of the territory is covered by forest. So ecotourism, build some few lodges, good natural business, very interesting. The highest peak, I think, is 986 meters. Yeah, so good hiking. People like, our friends at Bench Event, Kilimanjaro. The next one is going to be Logo, led by David Harper. Last but not least, again, where do you see the market going? We believe that the key to unlock tourism in this country and West Africa is Askai. Not on the same proportion the Emirates did for Dubai, but certainly, on a good scale. They can handle A380, very interesting for cargo business, very interesting, the code sharing partnership with Ethiopian Airlines, and potentially reaching the target of 2.5 million passengers by 2020. 71% occupancy, we think, is achievable in this current market in the next 5 to 10 years. And considering a 24% growth of RevPAR in the last 4, I think the 68 to the 75 euros RevPAR, it is an achievable target in this market, even if we double the current supply of 1,180 keys. So good economics. How to build this? Target regional tourism, stick to West Africa, stick to the roots of Askai, don't reinvent the wheel. Use what you already have to build your business. Co-promotional activities with Askai, with Ethiopian Airlines to incentivize good, simple, genuine tourism in Togo. We need a quality of hotel supply and, above all, branded hotel supply. Use the distribution system, use the marketing channels, encourage branded hotel supply. No matter whether you're 40, 50, 60 keys, there is always a brand out there that will cater for it. What is important is this branded. Start showing consistency, business model, recognition of what you're offering. What else to develop the leisure market? I think, again, not reinventing the wheels. Let's bring back what was here before 92. The casinos, the nightclubs, some natural theme parks, ecotourism, again, northern part of the country. So let's bring the fun back to Lomé, how it was in the 80s. This is the place to start partying. It's the Switzerland and the capital of entertainment of West Africa. Let's make it happen. So I think with this, I can say I sum up the entire country. Thank you.
Very much indeed. Very interesting. I've just got a couple of questions I'd like to ask you. You've addressed most of the things I was going to basically ask, but firstly, given the fact that we've just opened this place with 320 keys, there's a couple more in the pipeline in Lomé, probably adding another 250 keys. Is there room to invest? I mean, I'm assuming Lomé is your first place to invest if you were putting your own money in. Would you be putting it in now? Is now a good time to be investing in the country?
I have my own theory. If you don't build it, they don't come. So, you know, what Colliers Group and Radisson have done, they're just giving opportunity to people to come. So they're creating what we call, or what the big, big boys in the university, induced demand. We give them reason to come. So beside all the good things that the country has. And secondly, but my advice, my honest advice is, for the next 5 years, do not build 5-star hotels in Togo. Stick to the good old economics. If he works, if he makes money, you build it. Not just for ego playing. Purely commercial. Good mid-market, 4-star maximum, 3-star. Look at the lifestyle, look at the design. There are plenty of interior design in this room, plenty of architects. Use these people to be creative, cost-effective solution, and this is what the market needs. Do not need 5-star hotel. 5-star hotel will kill what potentially will be one of the best West African hospitality markets.
And the last question from me, what's the biggest challenges you've found in investing in Togo? What should investors look out for? What are the pitfalls that they could come across?
I think, and I'm not sure if they do exist, or they probably call it in a different way, I think one of the biggest challenges is not having free zones for foreign investors. The free zone model of the Middle East. This is how the places like Dubai, again, there was only sands in there, and not even constitution, and not even New York conventions, you know. So if you are putting your money, you don't know whether you're going to get it back if you lose them. But now it's a different story. They create a free zone with international law. In here it's good that you have a French base, Francophone, International Chamber of Commerce. Create free zone. Allow people to come here, invest their money, small taxes, protection for the wealth, and you overcome any other challenges.
Thank you very much, Filippo. We have run out of time on this session. Filippo's around. Grab him. Just ask him any questions you've got. And I'm sure you'll be happy to send out your slides if anyone asks you for them. Just come and find him, give him your email. Thank you very much, Filippo. Much appreciated. Charlotte, can I introduce you up onto stage, please? Charlotte's from Horwath. And she's going to talk us through Côte d'Ivoire, and she's going to do it in French for us. So I'm going to put on my translation device.
Merci. Donc effectivement, pour cette deuxième étape du voyage en Afrique de l'Ouest, on va prendre un vol direct d'un peu moins d'1 heure pour aller en Côte d'Ivoire. Comme vous le savez, la Côte d'Ivoire a vécu une décennie de troubles politiques, mais aujourd'hui je ne suis pas là pour rappeler ces faits, au contraire. Je suis là pour souligner à quel point ça va mieux depuis maintenant 4-5 ans, puisque la fin de la crise était en 2011. Le contexte politique et sécuritaire s'est stabilisé, comme en témoigne la réélection du président Alassane Ouattara en octobre dernier. Ce qui a permis assez rapidement à la Côte d'Ivoire de retrouver sa position de leader économique dans la région UEMOA, puisqu'aujourd'hui la Côte d'Ivoire représente 35% du PIB généré par l'UEMOA et 60% des exportations agricoles. Donc juste quelques chiffres pour repositionner le pays. Cette reprise, elle a été permise notamment par les 20 ans de ce qu'on a appelé le miracle ivoirien dans les années 60 et 70, qui avait permis de mettre en place un certain nombre d'infrastructures et notamment de transport avec l'aéroport international, des routes et des ponts, et qui ont permis d'accueillir un bon nombre d'investisseurs. Aujourd'hui, la Côte d'Ivoire, depuis 3-4 ans maintenant, on est sur un trend d'une croissance de PIB entre 6 et 8%, donc bien au-delà des moyennes régionales. L'économie est essentiellement supportée par quatre activités. L'agriculture, puisque la Côte d'Ivoire est le premier exportateur de cacao. Les investissements dans les infrastructures, le pétrole, et enfin les activités financières. Bon, c'est pour remettre en place quelques fondamentaux du marché. Mais dans ce contexte favorable, Abidjan donc concentre l'essentiel des activités économiques, alors surtout concentré sur l'activité du port et les activités financières. La ville a repris très rapidement depuis 2011, comme en témoignent notamment les grands projets d'infrastructure avec le 3e pont qui a ouvert en fin d'année dernière. Et puis le trafic aéroportuaire. Donc pour vous donner quelques chiffres, en 2011 on était arrivé à 600 000 passagers arrivés à l'aéroport. En 2014 on en était à 1,3 million. En 2015 on en est à 1,6 million. Donc c'est une des meilleures preuves de la reprise. Dans ce contexte, c'est aussi un environnement urbain, un paysage urbain qui change très rapidement, puisque, comme vous devez le connaître, le plateau a toujours été le quartier de concentration d'activités économiques et institutionnelles. Aujourd'hui, les activités se déplacent progressivement vers Marcory et Cocody, qui sont les 2 zones de développement urbain, en plus de l'aéroport, favorisées par un certain nombre de grands projets urbains, tels que le projet Aérocité autour de l'aéroport ou l'aménagement de la baie de Cocody. Alors dans ce contexte favorable, pour resituer le marché hôtelier, aujourd'hui on estime le marché hôtelier à environ 3000 chambres à Abidjan, au sein duquel un marché de qualité internationale de 11 unités d'environ 2200 chambres. Excusez-moi. 2200 chambres, au sein duquel 1500 chambres sont positionnées quand même sur le segment haut de gamme, puisque notamment avec le Sofitel Ivoire qui compte aujourd'hui quasiment 430 chambres, donc un segment haut de gamme très présent. Sur les 11 unités qu'on a identifiées comme marché pertinent, 7 d'entre elles sont sous anciennes, donc ce qui représente environ 1600 chambres. Historiquement, le groupe Accor, évidemment, vous le savez, a dominé le marché avec 5 unités sur 4 enseignes. Depuis 2012, 2 nouvelles enseignes sont présentes sur le marché. Onomo a ouvert en 2012 et Radisson Blu qui vient juste d'ouvrir près de l'aéroport avec 260 chambres. Ce qui se passe aujourd'hui, donc avec ce contexte favorable, c'est que le marché hôtelier est en train de vivre une période de transition avec 2 dynamiques, à la fois une dynamique de rénovation, puisque Sofitel a réalisé des travaux de rénovation et d'extension, de même que le Novotel et Pullman qui devrait démarrer cette année également. Par ailleurs, le gouvernement prévoit l'ouverture de 500 chambres 5000 chambres additionnelles d'ici 2020. Voilà, donc un marché qui est vraiment en train de se structurer. En termes de performance, le taux d'occupation est en moyenne sur le marché identifié de standards internationaux est environ de 67%. Avec des unités qui vont même au-delà de 80% selon les segments et les localisations. Un prix moyen d'environ 125 $ hors taxe. Donc c'est un marché extrêmement résilient. Ça va être très intéressant de voir comment il va réagir à l'ouverture du Radisson. Aujourd'hui, en plus, on a 7 projets hôteliers qui ont été déclarés, dont 3 vraiment en construction, avec l'hôtel Azalai le long du boulevard VGE à Marcory et 2 autres hôtels Mangalis, Sin et Noum au cœur du plateau. Alors aujourd'hui, ce qui est très intéressant de voir, c'est qu'à l'image du développement urbain d'Abidjan, le marché hôtelier est également en train de s'étendre géographiquement, avec une valorisation donc, de Marcory qui se situe entre l'aéroport et le plateau et qui a une excellente desserte routière. Et qui attire de plus en plus d'entreprises, notamment en raison de la congestion urbaine du plateau. Et par ailleurs, la zone de Cocody, qui bénéficie d'un certain nombre de programmes de développement mixte, bureaux, résidentiels et donc hôtellerie. Donc on est vraiment sur une tendance très positive du marché. On estime que la demande devrait croître encore de manière soutenue dans les prochaines années. Alors évidemment, la question reste les prochaines élections présidentielles en 2020, la question de la succession du président Alassane Ouattara. Néanmoins, on estime que la demande devrait rester soutenue. Alors j'aimerais conclure plus sur la Côte d'Ivoire, le marché hôtelier de la Côte d'Ivoire de manière générale, puisque bon, évidemment à ce stade Abidjan concentre l'essentiel de l'offre. Vous avez Yamoussoukro en plus, qui est la capitale politique de la Côte d'Ivoire, qui est le second marché hôtelier. Mais là où le potentiel est vraiment fort aujourd'hui est plutôt le long de la côte. Notamment à l'est d'Abidjan, à moins d'1 heure de route, où Grand Bassam a fortement bénéficié de l'ouverture de l'autoroute et qui aujourd'hui n'est qu'à 1 demi-heure d'Abidjan et bénéficie d'un cadre géographique naturel extraordinaire avec notamment un héritage culturel et patrimonial important. Voilà, donc Grand Bassam, Assigny un peu plus loin sont des spots très intéressants pour le marché hôtelier, notamment plus sur l'activité de loisirs et de séminaires. Et de l'autre côté, vers l'ouest, on parle de plus en plus de la région de San Pedro qui est qui accueille le deuxième port d'Abidjan, de la Côte d'Ivoire. Voilà, donc énormément de potentiel pour la Côte d'Ivoire. Je vais peut-être m'arrêter là et puis laisser la place à la troisième étape. Merci.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. Very much appreciated and very interesting. So basically, the biggest takeaway I got, I always assumed that Côte d'Ivoire was all about Abidjan and there was nowhere else that you'd really invest in hotels because that's where most of the business is done. But you're telling us that there's a number of other locations that you could see good quality hotels being built.
Yeah, actually, Abidjan currently concentrates most of the qualitative supply in Côte d'Ivoire, but it should change very, very fast actually, because as I've just said, other hotspots are growing on different types of demand, and with the growing, the increasing touristic arrivals in the.
They keep going on and off. You've just got
think
to move it around a little.
Here.
Twist, 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 twist. It's the secret. No?
Battery. No, that's okay. Yeah, it should be very interesting to see in the next years new qualitative projects to match this leisure and MICE demand. It's very necessary right now to.
One question I really want to ask, just from a nosy perspective. In March, we had the disasters in Grand Bassam. How is Côte d'Ivoire coping? Has it impacted terribly on leisure tourism, or actually is the country bouncing back quite nicely?
Yeah, obviously it has impacting in the following weeks, of course. But I think people were like affected, of course, but they return to Grand Bassam because they trust that security can be ensured right now. And actually, international tourists came back more quickly than Abidjanese inhabitants. But no, I think when you live there, you can see that it has been impacted for several weeks, but now it's starting to come back. And if you create new projects and new infrastructure, people will not forget, but
they'll come back and look after.
Yeah, sure, they will come back.
I'm just going to open the floor up quickly to the questions up to the floor to see if there's anyone who wants to ask you a question, since we've got a minute left. Is there anyone that I can see that's looking keen? Okay, in that case, I'll ask you one more question. If I was to be investing in Côte d'Ivoire, what are my challenges? What are the difficulties of me putting my money in to come and build a hotel? What would you advise?
Well, good question. First, the first challenge is to find a good site and secure it. You know, be sure that the site is secured, and then try to respect a good planning of development. Because the faster you go, the better you will catch.
If you can get it built quickly, you'll get your money out.
Yeah, that's a big challenge, of course.
Fantastic, thank you so much. You're around all day as well, so people can come and find you and ask you any questions, yeah? That's brilliant. Okay, well, thank you very much, Charlotte. That was very interesting. Tim, can I ask you to come up, please, and talk to us about Ghana? This is Tim, who's the Managing Director of HVS. Oh, sorry, I'm going to forget everything. I'm going to ask Trevor to come up first and talk to us about Nigeria. Yes, you will. Come and tell us all about how interesting it is. You all know Trevor Ward from W Hospitality Group and Hotel Partners Africa.
Thank you, David. Could I have a microphone? Thanks. Okay, regular attendees at Hotel Investment Forum will know that I moved to Nigeria about 13 years ago from my London base, and shortly thereafter, Nigeria was really on an upward curve. And I used to stand up here and go about how wonderful Nigeria was, the opportunities in Nigeria, and how wow it was. It really was wow then. Now, I think we can look forward and say that Nigeria will be wow again, but I'm afraid that at the moment, it's a lot more ouch, as you will see from some of what I show you. First slide I wanted to show you was just the scale of Nigeria. If you look at many African countries, they tend to have really only one, maybe two cities. Let me just tell you about, I'm assuming this is going to point, but I actually don't think it is, so I'll use this instead. This is a map of Nigeria. It's by no means the largest country geographically in Africa, but it's the largest economy and it's the largest population. And what I want to show you here is some important points, is that each of these is a state, okay, which under the federal system, the states are very powerful in terms of receiving and spending money. And each of those states has a capital city. With the exception that Abuja FCT, Federal Capital Territory, is not a state, but of course that's where the country capital sits. So 37 states, we'll call it. What this map shows you is population density. And if you assume that population density means economic activity and growth, then you can see the concentration of economic activity in Nigeria. Lagos is off the chart in terms of population density. So there's a lot of economic activity, less here, a lot of economic activity around the Niger Delta, which of course is where the oil and gas industry is located. And in Kano, interestingly enough, Kano, which was the former capital of northern Nigeria, I think, can't remember, anyway, something like that. Major city, about 9-10 million people, and with an international airport. So just showing you the scale of Nigeria. Just some facts about Nigeria. Population 182 million, You try counting that number of people. It's probably gone up since then. GDP per capita 2015, 6,400. Artificial figure because we are Naira, not dollar, and the Naira has tanked. GDP growth rate last year, 3 to 4%. That compares to 6 or 7% in the last decade. Inflation, 9% at the end of the year. End of May, it was 15.6% and rising. And here's something that not many people realize, is that whilst the oil and gas sector, you look at Nigeria and you say oil. Well, actually, whilst the oil and gas sector is around 80% of government revenues, it's actually only about 10% of GDP. So there you go, the red 10.3%, 10.3% of GDP. Agriculture is double the size, and services are 5 times the size of the oil and gas sector. But of course, a lot of those services are servicing the oil and gas sector. Okay? Now, this is where you seriously go, ouch. Okay? 2014 GDP growth 6.3%, and thereafter it's been a almost steady decrease, a little recovery in Q3 2015. Who would have thought 2-3 years ago that Nigeria would be in recession by the end of this month? Because almost certainly Q2 2016 will be also a negative figure, which is officially recession in Nigeria. Good grief. It really is hard to believe that that's where we are. Someone coined the 5-horned monster that has affected Nigeria and resulted in our low growth, very low growth profile. Slowdown in GDP growth, which was started by Ebola in 2014, which had an impact throughout the whole region, followed quickly by the oil price crash, which brought about a currency devaluation, an official devaluation from 165 to 198-ish, call it 200, followed by an extreme shortage of foreign exchange, but most importantly, uncertainty. You talk to hotel general managers in Nigeria, and I say to them, I just don't know how you budget. And they say, well, we don't know how we budget either. It's just so difficult to forecast the future. Currency devaluation update as of yesterday. There is no longer a peg between the Naira and the US dollar. It was pegged at 198, I think. It was allowed to float yesterday, which meant it sank like a stone. And we think it's trading at about 380 to the dollar. Result, more and more and more inflation coming in. Just going back to that map, remember where the economic activity is, and that's really where the hotel industry is. If you look at Lagos, this is the number of branded hotels in Lagos, 19, about 3,000 bedrooms. Abuja's 1,200, and then 1 or 2 hotels in other places, branded hotels, of which all are in the south of Nigeria. Not one is in the north of Nigeria, following where the economic activity is. Top 5 chains in Nigeria. Starwood is the largest by number of rooms. They have 5 quite large hotels, well, 4 large ones, 1 small, 2 Meridians, 2 Sheratons, and a 4 Points, with others on ground. Hilton it has a large number, 667 rooms in 1 hotel in Abuja. Louvre have various golden tulips. Best Western are spreading their wings throughout the country. Accor, Novotel, M Gallery, 2 Ibises, I think. Okay, another ouch coming up. However we play with the scale, these are STR figures, occupancies for Lagos, for about 12 hotels, I think. The fact that the cruel fact is it's gone from 64% in 2012 to 52% in 2015. We, as I mentioned, we were first feeling the external effects in 2014. 2013 was affected slightly by the opening of the Intercontinental and some other hotels in Lagos. 2014, Ebola, security scares, oil price, blah, blah, blah. We were hit and hit and hit by various effects. 52% at the end of 2015. This compares the first 4 months of 2016, and the figures here are actually, whilst the occupancy has gone down very slightly because the scale here looks big, but it's gone from 44% to 44.3 to 43.6. The good news is that RevPAR has stayed the same because managers are able to actually climb a little bit in ADR and are compensated for that lack of occupancy. So operating factors and challenges that we're facing at the moment, well, they're all the same old things, aren't they? I mean, there's nothing really new there except for the last one, which is the uncertainty that we are living with at the moment. You can compare it with the UK at the moment. Thursday is going to be one of the biggest political decisions taken by referendum for decades. The whole European Brexit. So at the moment in the UK, nobody really quite sure what's going on. In Nigeria, we definitely really don't know what's going on. So this uncertainty is just hitting us and hitting us and hitting us. And it obviously will take some time for us to absorb the depreciation of the exchange rate yesterday. How long it will take, we're uncertain. We just don't know. But let's get positive. The hotel chains, and remember that whilst the hotel chains don't develop or invest, the other side of the table is a developer or investor. So these are the deals that have been signed by the hotel chains in Nigeria. And still it is Lagos and it's Abuja. That is where all the activity is really. Port Harcourt a little bit, remember the oil capital, Lagos commercial capital, Abuja the political and financial capital. So that's good news that there is a pipeline coming in. So to conclude, 10 reasons to be cheerful? Not sure. Well, joking aside, Nigeria will always be Nigeria. Hugely resilient, very entrepreneurial people. And then the other positive factors I put there. Young workforce. Yeah? The demographic benefit there. The economy is beginning to diversify. Government finally gets it, because at the moment they're actually earning about a quarter of the income from oil that they got 2 years ago. A quarter. Not only because of the price crash, but because the rebels, we'll call them, down in the Niger Delta are actually trying to close the oil industry down. And then what? What will you do then? What will you tell your mother? I don't know. Anyway, future economic opportunities. We have mineral wealth. We have agricultural wealth. The oil and gas industry will come back. I mentioned 36 state capitals. There's no other country outside South Africa on the continent in Africa which has so many urban conurbations where hotels can be developed. Governance is getting better. Gosh, it's slow. But Nigeria will always be Nigeria. Thank you very much.
very much, Trevor. Much appreciated. One quick question for you, because we are slightly out of time, is you're a consultant. You help people predict the future, and we've got uncertainty raging through Nigeria. How do you do it?
Well, yes, very good question. How do you forecast the future in a place like Nigeria? You just have to make basic reasonable assumptions, which the reasonable man on the Clapham omnibus will accept, that if this happens, then this will happen. I don't think any consultancy work is actually forecasting the future. What we are doing is saying, if you make these assumptions, this is what is likely to happen. And I do make a distinction there. All you can do is say, this is where we're at, this is where we've been, learn from history, and looking forward.
I'm going to actually sneak one more question in quickly as well. Would you concentrate all of your investment advice, tell people to move, just to put new hotels in Lagos and Abuja? Or would you actually spread it wider around the country? Are there places that people haven't thought of building where you would advise would potentially provide good investment returns?
I think there are many opportunities in some of the state capitals, not all of them. Some of the state capitals are just so small and only have government activity. But I think there is definitely opportunity for mid-scale and budget hotels. You're never going to get the rates in Abeokuta or Dutsi that you get in Lagos and Abuja. You've got to build for the market, and that will be meaning you get your capital costs as low down as possible. So mid-scale, and you already have, I mentioned Abeokuta, in fact, Park Inn by Radisson have already opened there. And chains like Hilton, Carlson, Resdale are looking out to those other states because there are opportunities there. It's one of the attractions of Nigeria is the scale.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Trevor. You're around for the rest of the conference, so people can grab hold of you as well, yeah? So thank you, Trevor. Next up, I tried to get you up last time. Tim, can you come up and talk to us all about Ghana, please? Tim is head of HVS based down in Cape Town, I think.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And Trevor, thank you. He's done half my job for me, really, because what I'm talking about here in Ghana, the last 2 or 3 slides that Trevor has been talking through, could almost equally apply. I think the difference is that perhaps Ghana is 12 months ahead of where Nigeria is right now. So, being a sort of glass half full kind of guy, we're going to be looking at the positivity, and with full credit to football pundits from the UK, Saint and Greavesy, is it going to be great? So starting off, it's important to understand where we are in the world, and in exactly the same way that Trevor looked at Nigeria, I thought it was important to look at Ghana. And this isn't scripted, but although the map of the country there has many cities marked up, there are in fact only 4 that have got any sort of hotel industry outside of Accra. So with that in mind, this presentation, although it is entitled Ghana, is very much focusing on Accra. So this is the economic piece, and we can read the numbers and they say tell the story. But the important thing is to look at the trends and look at the jumps. And Trevor mentioned the word uncertainty. And if you look at just the GDP growth on the top line there, you can see that uncertainty has come through over the last 5 years, and again is forecast to continue over the next 2 to 3 years. you're sitting there with your pick and pay carrier bag full of folding cash, thinking, where do I invest it? Now, it's difficult for any consultant, picking up on David's previous point, to offer any certainty or look somebody in the eye and say, well, last year we grew at 3 to 4%, but don't you worry, we'll be back to double digits before you know it. It's very difficult to make those investment decisions. But as I said, the good news, and again, trends are very important. This is to remind ourselves where we've come from, and also going back a slide, it's also to give some context to the percentages. Because when you look at 4% growth or 10% growth, you automatically think these are huge numbers and it's exciting. Well, actually, if you're starting from 10% growth is really not that exciting. And so I think that's important to look at that first column there and look at where the tourism market, or the number of travellers, to be more accurate, through Ghana, through Accra Airport, has actually come from. But it's also important to see that although the international numbers have increased significantly, so have the domestic. And that is a note of success of the regional and the local economy. And that's something that gives us all a bit more confidence about the future. Because as we mentioned, the whole of West Africa was obviously affected by oil, by Ebola, by perceived and actual terrorism, and so on. So our good friends at the British Commonwealth Office and the US State Department suddenly tell us that we're all mad to be in West Africa. We know it's different, but they do like to scare us a little bit. So actually, when you look at that and say, well, a market as mature, an economy as mature as Ghana is actually showing significant growth in its domestic travellers, and therefore in its domestic economy. And again, it does also come back to the fact that we're only talking about 250,000 people here. We're not talking about millions and millions of travellers. So there are relatively small numbers, but I do believe that it is important to look at the positives in a realistic light. So where do those visitors come from? Well, again, looking at that, the traditional markets still remain very important. More than 40% of people come from Europe and North America. And any hoteliers in the room will tell you that they're the guys who spend the money. So that's very important. But I'm also really interested and excited to see that more than a quarter of the people come from the region. And again, this is all positivity. This is real growth. One of the main sources of that historically have been Nigerians hopping over to Accra for weekend and short-term tourism. Now, listening to Trevor's take on that, then it's going to be a little while before those tourists come back into the Accra market, and that's going to be a bit of a challenge. Hotel supply, how many beds are there? Well, you see, this is also a little bit misleading, and it's always good to baffle people with science, because these are actual numbers of hotels, they're actual numbers of hotel rooms. What it doesn't actually show is the quality of those hotel rooms. So there's an awful lot of talk at the moment that maybe Accra is or will shortly be overbedded, supply outstripping demand. I actually look at it in a slightly different way, and touring through the hotels of Accra, you look and you realise that actually the quality of some of those hotels is pretty poor. So if you build a brand new Kempinski that's just opened, or the Marriott that's going to open shortly, even if we ignore all the economics, even if we look at just the existing demand, it is a fair assumption that a brand new hotel, providing they get their strategy correct, will actually absorb some of the existing demand from people having to stay at second-rate properties. And I think this is a challenge for some of those hotel owners. Some of them are beyond repair in various forms, but others really need to look at that investment. And this is the really following on from there, and not only the size of the rooms. I think this has been a real strength of the Accra hotel market is the size of the hotels. You can see that the majority of them there are around about 150 rooms, certainly less than 200, and that is a size that is much more sustainable. You can have a bit of a wobble in demand, and you can still maintain a good profit margin. So that's important. And whilst that list is not completely complete in terms of the all hotels, they are all the main hotels in town. From the Mantis collections, Villa Monticello at the bottom, a relatively newcomer, you can see there are a large number there of either old hotels just out of town, like La Palm Beach and Labadi Beach, or others that are really old or unbranded. So bring in new international standard, international quality hotels, and things should indeed be absorbed. And there's big investment there. One of the hotels on that list is currently under offer for sale, showing that there is significant demand from international investors and confidence from investors into the Ghana market. So I touched on this earlier, and if we just go back for one slide, you've got 1,900 rooms in the market, and you've got 1,200 coming in. So percentage-wise, that's a huge number. There are two things to mention on this slide, though. One is to look at the opening dates, and they're always evolving out, as you would expect. The other is to understand the geography of Accra as well. So the Kempinski's opened up in downtown next to the Movenpick. That in itself is becoming a destination for leisure, for luxury hotels. Other more corporate hotels like the Radisson, like the Hilton, are developing in a brand new area of town called Airport City, which is new shops, new residences, and new offices and hotels. And that's down to, again, the poor traffic situation. People have reacted by creating a whole new suburb. So those hotels are serving a new suburb as well. So things are always changing and evolving. And I said, I'm a glass half full sort of person. But there's lots of reasons, lots of kites to cling on to believe that things are improving. So then we get to the numbers. And we've started off really well. I've been really positive. And now I put a slide up that says occupancy's fallen from 72 to 68%, and average rate has not moved at all. You'd expect that when you think about what's happened in the market. Things are not great, and if you looked at numbers in SEDI rather than average rate for the first quarter of this year, it's a very different picture. First quarter of this year, average rate in US dollars is down about 5%. It's up 10% in local currency in the first quarter of this year. So again, it's a very interesting challenge for hoteliers when they've got hard currency coming in and local currency going out, is to balance that risk. So are things starting to improve? Well, perhaps they are. But again, just to finish off, with regard to hotel values, because of those changes and because of the changes particularly in US dollars, we've seen big swings in value, and again a big drop last year because of Ebola, because of perceived uncertainty to get with regard to corruption and elections and so on. This year, I suspect those values won't have changed. So they won't have gone down, and that perhaps is the start of slow but steady growth. And with that, these are my thoughts, and there are many things that we can talk about. There are many things that you as hoteliers have got under control. There are many things that are completely out of your control. But in answer to the question that I posed at the outset, is it going to be good? I think it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. I'm just going to ask you one question while you go to sit down. Basically speaking, we've seen you're showing values are dropping. We're seeing there's a huge new supply coming online. We're seeing rates, etc. They're staying steady and occupancy is dropping. Would you build a new hotel in Accra?
Yes, I would. It would definitely be mid-market or hostel, low end. But I think at that stage, with international standards, international operating practices, then you've got a good opportunity.
Perfect, thank you. Right, I'm going to ask Philippe to come up on stage. He's the Managing Director of Horwath, and he's going to talk us through Cameroon.
Bonjour, j'ai hésité à savoir en quelle langue j'allais bien faire la présentation sur le Cameroun. Et je me suis dit que ce n'était pas une question facile puisque le Cameroun est lui-même un pays bilingue. Alors j'avais prévu aussi de peut-être étendre la session à Dakar, mais vu le temps qui nous reste, on va se limiter donc au Cameroun et donc avoir un œil particulier sur la ville de Douala. Alors, Douala n'est pas la capitale du Cameroun. La capitale du Cameroun, c'est Yaoundé. On est dans un schéma à la nigériane ou à l'ivoirienne, où donc la capitale est à l'intérieur des terres, la capitale politique, et la ville principale, la capitale économique, est donc littorale et compte sur ses activités portuaires qui viennent irriguer l'économie entière du pays et pas seulement le pays d'ailleurs. Donc quel est le contexte aujourd'hui du Cameroun ? C'est un contexte de croissance forte. Si j'ai bonne mémoire, c'est la croissance la plus forte de tous les pays qu'il nous a été donné d'analyser dans le panel, puisqu'on est à plus de 8%. Alors à quoi doit-on cette croissance ? On la doit d'abord à un contexte politique qui est stable sous la présidence de Paul Biya. On le doit aussi à une économie qui est diversifiée. Trevor faisait remarquer que l'impact des produits pétroliers était partiel au sein du Nigeria. On peut faire la même remarque sur le Cameroun. Il y a certes des activités pétrolières, mais il y a aussi des activités minières, aussi des activités agricoles, aussi des activités forestières. Donc on est dans une économie qui est diversifiée. Et puis cette diversification, elle permet justement de s'affranchir de la chute récente des cours du pétrole et de maintenir un niveau assez enviable pour pas mal de pays. Vous noterez de manière intéressante, et ça peut-être à la différence d'autres pays, le Nigeria a évoqué une inflation de 9%, on est à une inflation de 1,2%, donc une inflation maîtrisée qui est liée au système monétaire, au rattachement au système de la Banque centrale des États d'Afrique centrale, qui évidemment permet une stabilité monétaire. Donc Douala, dans ce dispositif, a un point central sur la côte de l'Afrique centrale et permet d'irriguer non seulement le Cameroun, mais d'irriguer des pays enclavés comme le Tchad et la République centrafricaine. Et ça, c'est la beauté économique du port de Lomé, qui est géré d'ailleurs par la même entreprise qui gère le port. Je parlais du port de Lomé, du port de Douala, qui est géré d'ailleurs par la même entreprise que le port de Lomé. Douala est pris entre deux districts clés. C'est un petit peu comme à Abidjan ou comme à Dakar. Il y a un district en hauteur, donc qui est Bonanjo, et puis un district bas, plus proche de la mer, qui est Akwa. Aqua, qui est davantage centré sur le commerce et l'échange, les fonctions un peu plus politiques et régaliennes étant sur Bonanjo. Au niveau de l'hôtellerie, on est sur un marché qui est d'une petite taille. On a environ 1200 chambres pour une dizaine d'unités et on a seulement 300 chambres qui sont sous enseigne. Ou de conception, disons, sous enseigne. Les principales marques représentées sont Pullman, qui a repris de Starwood l'ancien Méridien, et puis Ibis, qui a un hôtel. C'est-à-dire que l'essentiel, la totalité même, de l'hôtellerie de chaîne est sous enseigne Accor. Donc on est sur une offre qui est relativement ancienne, mais qui remplit sa fonction d'hôtellerie d'affaires, avec une occupation moyenne d'environ 63% et un prix moyen d'environ une petite centaine de dollars hors taxe, ce qui n'est pas très loin de ce qui a été évoqué pour Abidjan, mais enfin quand même à un cran en dessous. Donc ça nous positionne un petit peu. Le trend est relativement stable parce qu'évidemment, on a la contraction de l'économie pétrolière d'un côté qui est compensée par les autres activités. Alors en tendance, il y a un pipeline, là je rejoins un petit peu ce que Tim a dit sur le Ghana, on a un pipeline de 1300 chambres par rapport à une ville qui en a aujourd'hui 1200, donc on a quasi doublement. Mais enfin on sait aussi que pipeline, ça ne veut pas toujours dire grand-chose, puisqu'il faut que les projets démarrent. Pour qu'ils démarrent, il faut qu'ils soient financés. Et une fois qu'ils sont financés, il faut qu'on aille au bout de la question de la construction. Donc ça, c'est encore pas mal sujet à aléa. Il a été évoqué, et c'est Charlotte qui l'a évoqué, des échéances politiques qui peuvent influer des marchés. Évidemment, tout le monde regarde avec beaucoup d'attention la succession de Paul Biya qui doit intervenir en 2018. Et donc, évidemment, on peut regarder ça de manière positive ou négative. On peut se dire « Ah mon Dieu, c'est une menace parce que ça va un petit peu créer des troubles ». C'est possible. C'est peut-être aussi une opportunité parce qu'on a un peu l'impression, à pas mal de niveaux, que le Cameroun est dans une situation un peu de belle au bois dormant et ne demande qu'à se réveiller. À ce titre-là, ça explique qu'il y a un certain nombre d'investisseurs qui prennent le pari de la transition et qui anticipent donc sur cette transition. Cette idée est renforcée par l'organisation de la Coupe africaine des Nations au Cameroun en 2019. Et donc, on voit pas mal de projets qui font corps à Douala. Alors, au-delà de Douala, on évoque, et pour terminer, deux possibilités alternatives. Une possibilité alternative est de développer des hôtels à Yaoundé, qui est une capitale politique qui a un marché relativement étroit. Et une autre possibilité est de développer des hôtels sur la côte, soit dans la ville secondaire de Limbe, dans la partie anglophone. Pour mémoire, la partie ouest du Cameroun est anglophone, la partie est est francophone pour des raisons d'héritage politique. Et sur la partie ouest, la côte ouest justement, la côte est, excusez-moi, vous avez la ville de Kribi qui a un vrai potentiel économique, touristique également, mais aussi économique, puisque c'est ici qu'il y aura un des principaux ports en eau profonde d'Afrique centrale, destiné à acheminer à l'export le développement des minerais qui sont développés par des compagnies essentiellement chinoises et canadiennes. Voilà ce que je peux vous dire sur le Cameroun et je serai ravi de répondre aux questions de Tim et des autres panélistes éventuellement.
Very, very good. So we're going to start with a typical question, which is, if you were to invest your own money in Cameroon, where would you put it?
If I had to invest my own money in Cameroon, I would certainly develop a brand new mid-market hotel in Aqua. Typically 120 units, full service, limited meeting capacity, and with international brand.
We actually do a survey of all the hotel values around Africa, and in Cameroon, growth was quite impressive. It outperformed all other property investments. I think over the last 6 years, it averaged about 9.7%, so it is a very, very strong market. But where does the money come from? Who's investing in Cameroon at the moment?
You have very powerful families in Cameroon. There is
private equity in Cameroon, and also you have a pretty solid banking system because you have branches of international banks like SG, like EcoBank, and some other bank. And remember that also development bank could help fueling development, and it should happen. I think the catalyst would be the political change, and many people are anticipating. Another sign is that the government is pushing hard to get new hotel properties ready open for the forthcoming African National Soccer Cup.
The holy grail of hotel operators and investors is to have as many different types of business coming in. You've got strong corporate, actually unique, I would say, out of some of our locations we've been chatting about. You've got a very strong potential leisure demand. How could you improve that? How could we start getting more leisure tourists coming in, as well as the corporate business guys that are wandering along?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. We had this discussion earlier with Tim during the round table. In fact, we need to see things from two angles. One angle is to develop long-haul tourism with proper charter flights, tour operators, very sophisticated product. And I think the country is not ready for it yet. But you have a very good sign for opportunities to develop in the field of resorts near Kribi, for instance, because you could not only satisfy a fringe of international demand, but you could also deal with local, expatriate, and a very important MICE market deriving from NGOs, banking sector, pharmaceutical, or telecom, because they have huge demand for trainings, and Kribi is a pretty idyllic location for that.
Just one last thing, because we've got a couple of minutes left. Are there any questions from anywhere on the floor for any of our panelists? Because I know you haven't had a chance to ask most of them anything. So is there anyone there who's got any particular questions that they've had burning? We've got one over here, if we can bring a microphone to the center.
Salut, bon après-midi. Par rapport au Cameroun, Crystal Palace bouge? Non? Merci. C'est une question pour vous seulement.
Refer to one specific hotel project, Crystal Palace, which is one hotel project among others in Douala. I have no specific information. What we do when we appraise that type of product, as we do for Joga Palace or some others, we assume a certain probability of success, because otherwise you would add enormous numbers of additional supply, which would not reflect a possible future. So I have no specific information. Again, this is one project among others, which is likely to happen or not, but that's all I have to share with you at this stage.
Any other questions at all? We've got time for one more, potentially. No? Well, in that case, I'd like to thank all of my panelists. It's been very interesting. Guys, thank you very much.